Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Live with you guys tonight, right now, for the first half hour of the show. It's going to be me, Josh. I got Justin with me, and we've got Rich and Jason from the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. Coming in here, we're going to recap the event from Saturday. If you guys joined us for the live stream during the Bowling with Browns Legends event, man, it was a ton of fun.
Good.
Thank you. First of all, everybody who did join in or watch the replay, listen to the podcast audio, we appreciate that. It was a ton of fun, so we're going to kind of recap that. These guys have a very cool announcement to make.
I'm very excited.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect maybe next year.
Just sounds good.
Everybody just make sure you understand if you missed out, you missed out, and you want to make sure you're at this event
for next year,
for the second annual, because if you guys are going to do it even more than what you did Saturday, I mean, whoo, buddy, it's going to be a ton of fun. So we will do all that, and then we're going to dive into your guys' questions, do like our AMA or our listener mailbag segment like we did last week. Blake will be joining us for the second half hour of the show, so stay tuned for that if you want to hear what Blake has to say about a whole bunch of your guys' stuff. We got one question we're going to hit these guys with before they're out of here around 6 o'clock or so, and then we'll just kind of go from there. But before we get started, make sure you guys follow us on all the social medias at the Dawgs Podcast. That's what our handle is everywhere. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell so you don't miss any more lives or any of the stuff that we're doing throughout the summer. It's going to be a ton of fun once training camp gets rolling, preseason, and then it's kickoff. It's going to be here fast. So the last thing before we start talking about the event from Saturday, if you guys want to get into our fantasy football leagues, the month of June is almost already over, so that's 1 month of signups. We've got people in there. We've probably got, I think we might have 3 or 4 leagues already.
Oh, I'm ready to
rock and roll. So we'll do as many leagues as we can, as many as we need to, but make sure you guys get in there. Jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee. Whoop-de-doo to you, but it does help out the show a ton, and we really appreciate it. Plus, like I said, you get to play fantasy football with us on the sign-up right there, posted at the top of the homepage, and then you get into the private Discord, hang out with our online Dog Pound community. It's a great place to be. So that's jointhedawgs.com. Get in for fantasy football now. All right. So it was me and Justin on the live stream hosting the show for you, for the event on Saturday that you guys put on, and it was a killer event. Yeah, it was awesome.
Absolutely.
So
thank you.
Do you guys just kind of want to talk about it or give the audience, if they missed it, what did they miss?
Go ahead.
Just like a lot of work from both me and Rich and our supporting people. We were happy that all the players were happy with the event. Every single player, athlete that came, they loved it. They loved the layout, the feedback. Just it was laid back. They got to hang out with fans. They all got their own custom bowling ball.
Right.
Very cool.
It was a very cool event, a cool experience just for the people coming to visit too. It wasn't your standard meet and greet, sit at a table, sign autographs for 5 hours. It was come out, hang out with everybody, throw a couple balls, and actually get to mingle with everybody. I was very happy with how everything went.
Yeah, kind of touch base with Jason said too. Even like Ralph Holly's parents came down, and they were telling me how it's just the smile on their face was awesome. Then then like I told you earlier, about 8 o'clock, all these texts come in from Felix. All these guys saying, "When's next year? When's next year?" They loved it. Like Jason said, the bowling balls were a hit.
Yeah,
it was just, just seeing them guys out there bowling was just great. It was great.
Yeah, it was really cool. And just to reiterate what you guys are saying, I mean, these former Browns players, they're just walking around the bowling alley. They're just throwing balls down the lanes. They're sitting at the tables. They're they're signing autographs, but they're just chopping up with everybody. Like you can sit down and just shoot the crap with these guys. It's really, it was more of an intimate setting.
Yeah.
I felt like. Then, like you said, you're not just getting in a line and waiting for an hour to do an autograph.
That was the goal, to make family memories and not have like your standard stuff. So there was no actual tournament. The bowling part was just a family fun event. That was just to add the memories and the events to it. It was basically just a kickback, socialized event to meet former players and local celebrities too, and a current Ralph Holly. So
yes. Yeah, it was a great opportunity for families, I thought.
Yeah.
Just bring your kids down and meet
That's
some
what I was
players.
going to touch on. How often, for me, like, I grew up a Browns fan. So, like, an opportunity, you see all those kids, like, just wearing Brown stuff and stuff like that. I never got opportunities like that when I was a kid to, like, go and see a football player, like, without probably paying. So, like, the opportunity to, like, do that. And like you guys said, you're just walking up, talking, interacting.
Then like with Mike Pruitt, it was a funny story with him. He actually came to a Dover football camp back in 1985. And that's the first time I seen him in like 39 years. And I had the actual picture of me and him together. Then I showed him, and he was just tickled pink. And I think like me and him, him and I bonded quick. And, he's called me like 3 or 4 times, just to talk, just build our, that bonding with the players is just unparalleled.
Yeah, that story alone that Rich just shared with us, that was our main. He told me that story, and so we got to do that again. Like this area hasn't seen players like that. It's probably since 1988, whenever it was, for almost 40 years. So that was our goal as VP and president of the Browns backers, that we can make these opportunities happen again in our community, and just bring these guys down and do things that we haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah, you guys have been doing a ton of this stuff. Yeah. I mean, this was your biggest event.
Oh, yes.
But,
far.
The stuff you guys do all year long during the season, I mean, getting players here to meet the fans and do all those kinds of things. I mean, it's really cool what you guys have been doing here in the community.
It's cool for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you feel about it, but like, there's times where like you almost have to like be like, wow, man, is this really like, are we really doing this?
Yeah. Same thing.
Especially like once you like get like you were saying with the relationships, like Felix is a guy that I feel like you can just talk to just for hours, and you kind of just you got to let him go because it's like, hey, But same thing. I saw him and I was like, hey, how you been? We didn't even really get to talk to him this past time interview wise. But
no, I mean before the live stream, but on the stream we didn't. But like you said,
great group of guys.
Current defensive tackle for the Browns, Ralph Hawley, sat down with us. CFL champion, great Cup champion.
Great guy.
Oh man,
guy.
Yeah, he was telling us, he's taking that ball back to the locker room to show everybody, because him and Shedeur are tight. He's going to take it to show him, so you never know.
Hey, anything is possible.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that's one thing that I feel bad about on the stream. I wanted to do it, and we just didn't get an opportunity. I wanted somebody to bring the ball over and show it on camera, but they all got a nice orange bowling ball with the dog face on it. And then what was? Did it say Browns on the other side? Yeah, Cleveland Browns on the other side. And
unfortunately, Dre, the fighter, we had to get him a.
I saw him walking around with the Steelers ball, and I'm like, he can't come on the stream.
Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly. It was worth it. I mean, like I said, they even like the relationship that him and Felix grew to. I mean, they were talking. I mean, Dre's a great guy. Just to have him there, Clayton there. I mean, Clayton was a big hit. It was good. It was like Jay said. It took a lot of work. I mean, it's like a second job. I mean, like people think it just happens, but I mean, that was a 6-month process to get that done.
Mm-hmm. I used to do event planning for my last job where we used to work with you, and it's there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people just don't. Go ahead, I gotta take a drink.
Probably a lot of logistics, all that kind of good stuff. Is that what you're basically saying? Planning. I'll talk for you, man. Just, what do you want me to say here? Okay, what else you got?
I got something in my throat.
Okay, hey. Go ahead and tell.
Not to mention it's like 85 degrees in the studio right now. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating so bad. But
it's better than the 95 that's outside.
I guess so. Yeah, there's a little air in here, but anyway. So you guys have a big announcement. Another cool thing you guys have going on. Somebody else who's coming to hang out. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on?
Well, August 10th from 12 to 3, we're partnering up with Lene from Shenanigans. It's called Paws on the Patio to support our local Humane Society. So we're thinking, dogs. What could be the best dog to get? So we reached out to Mr. Hanford Dixon.
Oh my God!
And Hanford Dixon will be down there for that. I mean, it's going to be huge for top dog.
Top dog. We're talking about top dog, man.
The dog,
yeah. So we're super excited about that because last week Hanford got inducted into the high school.
Yep.
So he was down there for Stump's event for the camp. We just started talking, and his favorite thing, dog, make it happen. Dog, make it happen. Then it just fell into place, and Hanford's coming to Dover.
That's awesome.
And a percentage of all the sales will be going to the Tuscarawas County Humane Society. They'll also have dogs there available to adopt if you're interested in getting a dog, bringing a dog home. Just another thing to add to our cap where we get to bring someone else down here. This will probably be our last bigger event unless something else happens before the season starts. So I think we need a break after that.
Well, you're not going to get much of one because the season kicks off not too far after that. Yeah.
We'll still continue to have our watch parties at Shenanigans for all the away games. So, and we'll have our raffles and 50-50s. So, looking forward to it. This off season has been crazy. This is the first year I've been really this heavily involved, and I wouldn't think I'd be sitting here with you guys talking about events that we had. So it's been an awesome opportunity. Working with Rich is always great. I think we work really well together.
Yeah.
We're also brother-in-laws too, so it works out.
You guys are in the doghouse together.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
If it's one, it's gonna be both of us. So.
Yeah.
But it's been a great opportunity, and we can't wait till we're already talking about next year's bowling event too. How can we make it better? What worked? What didn't work? What can we change? So I'm looking forward to it. It's just so much fun.
You know. Speaking of the bowling, I know Aaron, the owner of the bowling alley, doesn't like to give the kudos, but without him, this never would have happened. He was so supportive for us. Guided us on certain things we missed, guided us certain we did well. But Aaron was a huge help for this, and he's going to be a better help next year for us, too.
Yeah, so, if you guys, like I said before, if you missed out on the bowling event this year, just stay tuned. There's no dates or anything.
No, not
yet.
Not yet.
But I'm sure it'll be roughly the same time, like in June-ish.
Yep.
So
Right.
next summer, whatever. Just be ready for it, because once we get a date and we get the plans down, we're going to start announcing it on the podcast, because that's an event that, if you're local, if you're within driving distance of New Philadelphia, Ohio, you got to get here for this
we're
event.
even talks with Aaron, bringing pro bowlers down this time to actually bowl with the Browns. Then Anthony Griggs has ties with the Steelers. So we're going to have like the Browns for the Steelers too. So it's going to be.
Yeah, we're thinking about leaning towards more of a tournament style too. So there's so many different options. Every time we talk, we're like, we should do this or we should do this. So we really got to narrow it down. But it's definitely going to be a better event than we did this past weekend, and this past weekend was a success in my eyes. So
it was great. It was a great event.
I appreciate it.
It was an absolutely great event. I've been lucky enough to go down to Shenanigans a few times and bring my family down there, and these guys put on a great. The entire thing is. It's well thought out. You can tell you guys poured a ton of effort into it. I bring my kids. My kids are all very young, and it's a non-worry situation.
Just hearing that feedback from you guys. Then even our mentor, Mr. Kenny Mack, gives us the kudos. And when Kenny Mack gives you something, you know it's good.
That's right.
It just proves all that time and effort that we put into it and the thoughts that it matters. And when we hear stuff like you guys being appreciative, that's crazy. And it means so much to us too.
Well,
it just feeds that fire too, going, all right, now we're going in a good direction. Let's keep it going.
And when you got the players texting you right afterwards saying, hey, when's the next one? That's got to feel right there,
awesome.
man.
It's awesome.
You nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. All right. Well, we talked about the event and everything. So the rest of the show is what we, kind of been doing here in this five-week layoff for the team while they're on summer break. So we're going to do listeners, questions and things like that. So we got one here that we'll do with you guys.
Okay.
And I think it's fitting because we're going to reminisce a little bit, not too far back, but a few years here. So this is a question from Caston from our website. He says, I've been thinking about the 2020-2021 Browns team and how we barely lost in the divisional round of the Chiefs. I was wanting to know if you guys genuinely think we had a shot at a Super Bowl, or if you guys think we were bound to lose in the playoffs like we did. I honestly believe that was our year, and it was unfortunate we came up short.
First of all, late hit. Should happen.
Absolutely.
Helmet to helmet.
Helmet to helmet.
Hollywood Higgins right there. Come on. That was a late hit. That team was defensive-wise, offensive-wise, Baker was rolling. That team was.
If it wasn't for that penalty, I think we would have went all the way. Honestly, my opinion.
As a Browns fan, I think you got to kind of believe that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're we were right there. We were absolutely right there. And I'm kind of it could have played out differently, but in my eyes, I'm like, we're a missed flag away from absolutely having a parade.
I think so. Yes. I really think so.
I could be wrong. No. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there saying.
And that was with Joe Wood's defense.
Yes.
I feel like if we would have had a Jim Schwartz defense,
yes,
with the way that offense was rolling the second half of that year through that Steelers game, I do think we could have had a shot.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was a weird season anyway. It was like there's only 12,000 people in the stadium. That was my first real experience with trying to go season tickets, and that was we can't have anybody in the stadium.
Yeah,
it was pretty fun.
I was actually at the COVID game at Pittsburgh. There was only 3,000 people in that stadium, so that was crazy. Just being there with 3,000 people.
Yeah,
but it was a good season. It was good.
It was good. So I guess that kind of brings up another question real quick in my mind about like the Browns with Kevin Stefanski and everything. The 2 years that he's won Coach of the Year and we've made the playoffs with him have kind of been those, like you said, weird years.
Yeah.
Like we caught fire the second half of 2020, went through like maybe not the strongest opponents on the schedule. Right. And then, the Steelers just turned the ball over five. I mean, we obviously had to score and put the points up and everything. But then, 2023, again, just kind of caught fire with Joe Flacco. And where's the sustainability with Kevin, I guess? Because I feel like the other years have been down, like so down. Where's the consistency, I guess?
Like maybe I'm speaking out of line, but, when he had those 2 coaches years, you had one of the best running back coaches too in the Stump. So sorry, Stump, but it's the truth though. But
well, he had Stump and he had Nick. Healthy Nick.
Healthy Nick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, but yeah. So I guess expectations for this year. I mean,
I'd be happy with 7 wins.
Okay,
I'd be happy.
Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of people say we'll be lucky to win 3. I think we're at least on paper much better than a 3-win team.
Oh, I think so too.
I mean,
yeah, I think my most negative I'm like with myself is I'm like sitting at like 3 and I'm like, but then I feel like you can have a handful of plays go one way and you're sitting at 6 or 7. You know what I mean? It all comes down to last possession. Things break your way.
So many games are one possession. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The realistic Browns fans are like, all right, 3 this year.
Yeah. The blind optimists are like, we're going to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
This is it. This is the year. It's a complete chaos. Everything's burning around us.
I know.
We're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. Don't worry about that one. But,
we got a long ways to go for that. But
deep down, I believe that.
Bare minimal, it has to be a 3-win year. I mean, or more, it has to be better than that. But I'm really interested to see how this whole quarterback situation plays out.
Well, I was going to ask you guys that next. So
what a segue.
Okay. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Take it away. What do you guys?
I think Flacco's
feeling?
going to start week 1.
Okay,
that's what I want to see. I'd rather see Flacco over Pickett. I would like to have Shedeur sit behind Flacco for at least part of the season before we throw him right in there, and because no one's going to know really how his pro level is going to be. So you're going to have that surprise. Hopefully he pans out also, but I think Flacco and Shedeur is going to be your 1 and 2, with a Gabriel being a 3, and Pickett, if he's still there by the time the season starts, he'll be 4 if we don't trade him off somewhere.
This guy should have a podcast. Not bad. Not bad, brother. Not bad.
Good breakdown. No, Pickett, I don't know if you guys know, has the worst touchdown rate in NFL history.
Yep.
2%.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
For anybody, for a quarterback that's had, 500 or more attempts.
Yep.
He's got the worst in NFL history.
But like how you said,
that's our guy.
Saturday, there's those Picketeers
who
love him. I'm not saying whose name.
Angel. Blake's not here, so where's Blake anyway? Come on, man.
In Blake's defense, I feel like he set up a lot of things that have to happen too. Like it has to be almost like a Sam Darnold, revitalizing of the career.
Yeah, he's got to throw 40 touchdowns. He's only ever thrown 7.
So in his defense, I'm like, well, I guess if those things do fall in place, maybe
if that all works out, then sure, why not?
The starter week 1, I guess. I don't know.
One thing that I think a lot of fans, because I read through all the social media comments and stuff all the time, and a lot of people seem to think that there's 17 games. Okay, I just want to make that clear. There's 17 games. And a lot of people seem to think that Joe Flacco can start for the first half of the season, and then we can just kind of feel out the second half through the other rookies. I'm like, what NFL team in recent memory, if we can think of one, has had 2 rookie quarterbacks that they've been able to split time during the season to figure out who's the guy?
It wasn't Washington.
You barely get enough opportunities to see if one rookie is the guy in his rookie season.
Definitely.
Especially when you have a vet. So I think that the Browns might have to make a decision on who they really want to evaluate the most.
I mean, I'm just open. I mean, I've seen Grossie's comments about how the future's next year for the quarterback. I mean, I think we have a good quarterback with Shedeur. I think he's going to pan out, but when, we don't know. But I see Flacco go, like you said, maybe 4 to 6 games that they're winning with him. Keep him. If he starts tailing off, then give him the keys and say go.
Yep. Both your veteran quarterbacks, well, they only have a 1-year contract anyhow.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you have one season to figure out what your rookie situation is. Do you go into 26 with a combo of Gabriel and Shedeur, or do you pick up another vet to have him sit behind? So that a typical Browns year where you don't know who the quarterback's going to be and how it's going to play out, with all anticipation of next year we could be rebuilding again.
Let me just lay a scenario out that I hit Josh with. I said, let's just pretend we're in 2026 off season, right? Okay. And we keep Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, and we draft a quarterback in the first round. And we think there's a lot of noise right now, and it's a lot of circus, and it's crazy. Imagine that. But then on top of it, we're also not sure that we're even going to cut Deshaun Watson before 2026. So it's like, you think this is entertainment?
Oh yeah,
we could be in for a hell of a show
if we have to like somehow package those 2 first-round picks to move up to draft a guy. Oh my gosh! Like, imagine if we just like the quarterback we like or somebody we like falls to us at like 11 or 12. Cool, we draft him. But if we trade up, package both to get, I mean, the pressure.
And then if you step away from the quarterback situation, you can still got to look at our wide receivers and our.
I don't want to look at wide receivers
and our offensive line.
You could look at the whole depth chart.
Oh yeah,
that's just
some
things.
The tip of the iceberg with that, because without all our linemen, our offensive linemen, their contracts are almost up and they're getting older, and we saw how injury prone they were last year. So that's just another thing to bring back up.
Well, what I'll say is if they do package those picks together for a quarterback, we're not going to be talking about which guy is going to start. If we have to mortgage up 2 first round to go get a quarterback, that is going to be the guy that's starting, or we shouldn't be drafting him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yes. It's going to be one of those situations where you can't sit there and go, well, we took him at 3, but let's let him sit behind the first year guys for a year or 2. Like I don't think that'll fly.
It's Cleveland
at all. Not in Cleveland.
Nope.
What else would be Cleveland is to do that. Okay. Draft a guy at 3, and then he's the starter, ends up not panning out. Shedeur Sanders ends up going to another team and becomes their franchise quarterback.
Oh, that's it.
That's Cleveland.
That is it.
Right?
Yes.
That's it. Happened before? What's that guy's name?
Which one would we like to talk about? Which guy? There's a couple of them.
Yeah, so going to like the offensive line, I'm pretty sure as far as I think it's everybody, right? Is it? Yeah. This is the last year on contract for Teller, and Osick, and Bitonio, and Conklin. Yeah. Because remember, they restructured Conklin, so he can be a free agent next year. So here's my optimistic view of the offensive line. I'll give it to you guys. So DeJuan Jones pans out at left tackle.
Beautiful.
Sweet. And then you've got Zach Center at one of the guards, probably right guard. And then they've got Tevin Jenkins, who they signed from the Bears. And I think he's a starting level caliber of a guard. So maybe we extend him at some point later in this season, looking ahead, depends on how things are going. And then he gets to be our starting left guard. So now we got 3 of those guys kind of locked in, and there's a little bit of hope. But then in the draft, we're going to have to address tackle, and maybe Luke Whippler turns into a center. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a lot. So
I know that's a very optimistic.
The more that we do this, the more I hear a lot of, now if.
That's how it is with the wide receivers. Seriously, if Tillman stays healthy, if Deontay Johnson's mentally bought in.
Same way.
That's a lot of ifs.
It's Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's Cleveland.
We love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
I was reading some stuff from Jake Burns, Browns Film Breakdown. Blake Reniker's in the house. There he is. We'll get you on here in a sec, Blake. But he was saying about Jerry Jeudy. He said that at OTAs and minicamp, like the team, the organization is very impressed with how Jerry Jeudy came back this year. They said he's taken the alpha role. And like he's bulked up a little bit, and they said he's just come in here with the I'm number one mentality.
Okay.
And it showed. I mean, based on what everybody was saying, I get it. I know they're out there in shorts and helmets and whatever, but you still got to make those catches. You still got to run the routes. So that was good to hear.
Oh, we're gonna definitely need him.
If
we're leaning on this offense to be productive, he's gonna be a big piece of it.
But we do have 2 studs at tight end, though. Our tight,
it's very fair.
Vanna is going to be. I think he's going to be the key piece right there. I think he's going to be legit.
Yep.
Do you think we extended Njoku at any point? Because he's on the last year. He's
last year too. It depends what he wants. I mean.
I think he's staying.
It depends what Njoku we get this year. If we get the one that can make the block and the catch, or it's the one that misses the block and misses most of his catches. So,
do you think any of it depends on like the state of the team? You know, halfway through the season when maybe they're starting to talk contract extension stuff with him. Maybe they get it done here before training camp. Who knows? But I mean, if they're like, all right, we're going to have to draft a quarterback. We're going to kind of be in a
rebuild.
Like a rebuild. Yeah.
Does it make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Let's say halfway in the season, we're bombing. We're not doing all that great. Do you just start cutting everybody and completely start rebuilding from scratch.
Right.
I could see it happening.
I thought
even from the coach.
I thought we were there last year. Heading into this year. I was like, well, Myles Garrett's gone, hey, Nick's out, and like I was like, looks like we're starting over again. Like I pretty much fell into that same pattern of, well, here we go. We're doing the 5-year plan again.
Blake just texted us from behind the camera and said David has to be a Brown for life. So
I agree. He's the ultimate Cleveland sportsman. He's the ultimate. He is the spirit of Cleveland right now.
To be fair, I'm not saying that I want them to let him go or anything. I'm just saying you got to look at the cap. You got to look at the state of the team. I mean, it sucks. NFL, it's cutthroat. They got to make very hard decisions. I mean, we all found that out with Nick Chubb.
Absolutely.
But
we'll see.
We'll see.
Yep.
Right now is the best time to be a Browns fan, though.
Yes, this is like our Super Bowl season. This is the off season. We make all our plans, but then same old. There's always next year. Yep. Hopefully, we're not saying that this year, but
we'll see.
Yeah.
I've always wanted. I got a banner in my man cave that said, "Finally, it's this year," but it was for the Cavs, not for the Browns. So we're still in that motto. We haven't given up yet.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Sitting down and talking and everything,
and
sharing everything about the event. And make sure you guys watching, listening to the episode right now, just stay tuned. After the season, heading into next spring, we'll be talking the date and everything for the next bowling event.
Well, I tell you what we'll do is when we finalize it all, we'll come on your show and announce everything.
That's perfect.
Love it.
We'll announce it then so everybody knows it.
And we'll keep reminding everybody about Hanford. And you guys do so many things during the season, all that stuff. So we'll make sure that anytime they're doing something, we'll tell you guys about it. So if you're relatively close to New Philly.
Plug, if you're not a member of the Cleveland Browns backers yet, please join up to Tuscarawas County Browns backers. That helps our numbers out. It helps our membership become bigger. We're currently tied for the third
largest in the state of Ohio. Now.
Hell yeah!
Wow.
So let's go.
You guys, your chapter is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate it.
I agree.
You're the one to be a member of. That is for sure. So
that means a lot.
Yeah,
so much.
It does.
All right, so make sure you guys check them out. We're going to throw up a quick commercial break. We're going to get these guys out of here. We're going to get Blake settled in, and then we'll be back to keep doing more listener mailbag. We'll be right back.
Since 1989, Mount Hope Fence has set the standard in outdoor living. From decks and railings to fences and patios, we've got you covered. Our lineup features top brands like TimberTech, AlumaGuard, Preferred Railing, and Unilock, along with our own premium Duralux vinyl products. For over 30 years, we've partnered with contractors ensuring reliable job site delivery. Discover quality and excellence in all things outdoors with Mount Hope Fence.
This episode is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Browns fans, I can't tell you guys how many people I've known over the years who have missed out on job opportunities simply because they don't have the right degree or even have a degree at all. I mean, these are people who otherwise would have been perfect for the position they wanted, but they got turned away simply because of educational requirements. If you've ever felt stuck in a job you didn't enjoy, or you felt unqualified or unable to advance your career due to your lack of education or experience, heck, maybe you even have a degree, but now you feel like you chose the wrong major, Southern New Hampshire University could be the answer for you. Go to snhu.edu/bark, B-A-R-K, to learn how you can get started today. SNHU has programs in psychology, cybersecurity, computer science, sports management, game development, data analytics, and finance. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and their programs are radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. And you might even be eligible for financial aid or have prior college credits that could fast track your degree at SNHU. And because networking is everything, your courses are taught by faculty with real world experience, so you'll have opportunities to connect with people inside the industry. And then when you graduate, SNHU will still be there to help you as you begin your job search. So if you're ready for something new, head over to snhu.edu/bark and learn how you can get started working toward your new career today. This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, it's summertime. Time to get outside and take advantage of the beautiful weather and play some backyard games. Head over to badensports.com, B-A-D-E-N sports.com/dogs, and check out all their summertime gear. And for 10% off your entire order, just use promo code DAWGS, D-A-W-G-S, when you check out. Now, if you guys love pickleball, Baden Sports has all the gear you need, including a variety of paddles, balls, and complete pickleball sets with a pack and go carry case so you can play in the backyard or take it on vacation to play with the entire family. Baden Sports also has volleyball and badminton sets, croquet, horseshoes, bocce, and even Vikings chess. And no summer break is complete without some good old-fashioned wiffle ball. Plus, Baden has all kinds of different basketballs with special outer layers that are designed specifically for whatever surface you'll be playing on. So don't waste 1 second this summer. Head to badensports.com/dogs to get the backyard outdoor gaming gear that your family needs and get 10% off your entire order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. That's badensports.com/dogs. I had to unmute the mic. And we're back. And we got Blake.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
What's up? That's a quick change. You guys see those quick change artists? That was kind of like me.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say a long time no see. We saw you Saturday before the stream, but the audience didn't get to see you.
Yeah, I was there in the background just stealing burgers.
Just, unloading my truck.
Yeah. Dude, I was doing the grunt work.
Somebody had to do the heavy lifting. It wasn't going to be me. I couldn't do it.
How is your back, by the way?
Oh, I'm on steroids and muscle relaxers.
Also great.
So,
okay, yeah, but how's your back? How's that different?
I'm on steroids and muscle relaxers. I mean, it's okay. It's better. I'm not gonna say like I'm out of the woods on it yet because I'm still working every day. But yeah, I mean, I can get off the couch, which is, I mean, that's a huge improvement from a week ago.
Off the couch, out of bed, and into the studio. That's all that matters.
Yes, I couldn't do that a week ago.
All right, so we got some more questions to get to from you guys. But first, we got a voicemail from Kenny Mack. You guys just want me to go ahead and play that? We'll listen to it.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Yo, guys, it is Kenny Mack, and you put out a post about the teams that you think might be up or down in our schedule. I think it's the Lions. I mean, if you go 15-2, you lose both your coordinators, you're bound to be a slow start and end up like 11-6 or something along that lines. I think that's with the Minnesota Vikings too. I mean, you can't just turn it over to McCarthy and expect him to be even on a Sam Darnold type of level. They're just going to have mistakes. And that whole AFC North, I think they're going to start off slow. It might be good to get them early in the year. But I don't know if you know this, but there's 4 quarterbacks for this team. And I was just listening to Daniel Jeremiah on the Rich Eisen show, and he had some interesting points. He was saying that Kenny Pickett has to be light years ahead to even make the team this year. Flacco, his take on that kind of aligns with Cleveland Browns Daily. It's like, break the glass in case of emergency. But he actually thinks one of the 2 rookies will start. And I think that's a bad idea. That original 6 up to the London game, that's a gauntlet. I don't know why you'd want to start any rookie in that. The other thing is, our receivers core. If we're going to start a rookie and give him some kind of success, put some receivers that he can work with. I mean, they got the run game. We're crossing our fingers on the O-line, but I'd be, hard-pressed to see a rookie start the end or the beginning of the year. The one thing that I did like, and this is something that he said, though, you only have 17 games and you got to make a decision because, as we know, Tony Grossi thinks that the quarterback's in the draft next year. Give me your thoughts, boys. I'm out.
Oh, what do you guys think? Start a rookie week 1 or no?
So for me, it's one of the, and I probably wouldn't do it unless it's just like you can't keep them off the field. Like if Dillon or Shedeur is just so much better than Kenny or Joe, like you just can't not start them. But to me, you go with Joe or Kenny. I feel like it's going to be Joe, even though people are saying Kenny. I tend to believe Mary Kay more than I believe like a Daniel Jeremiah because I just don't think I feel like national people, they have sources, but they're not as plugged in as the local people, and people can hate on Mary Kay when she speculates on things and stuff like that. But if she sources something, she's usually right. You know what I mean? Like, her opinion pieces and stuff like that you might not like, but when she goes out and like gets actual factual information, most of the time she turns out to be right. So we'll see, but I would go with Kenny or Joe, whichever one wins between them, until the season is lost. You know what I mean? Unless one of those rookies is just so much better, you just can't keep them off the field. But I think you'll get more vet buy-in if you with the Joe Flacco. I mean, when we talked to Joe Thomas, he said he's pretty sure he hopes like the offensive lineman is expecting Joe and they want Joe to start. I think if you start Joe or Kenny and you get the vet buy-in and then you keep everybody vested and interested until there's a reason not to be. You know what I mean? Until the season's, and now if you go out there and you start 0-6 or 1-7 somewhere in there, okay, then maybe you turn it over. You find like where's the weak part in our schedule? Where's the best place to start? Maybe at home against a team that doesn't have a top 10 or top 15 defense, and then okay, this is where we're going to turn it over to one of the rookies, whichever one you want to go with.
It's a weird situation. I mean, regardless, because you got to find out what you have with 2 rookie quarterbacks at some point. You would think during the season and preseason,
unless you come out of camp just knowing. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, right. I think that's where we're at. Like last year it was Jaden Daniels. Like it was no doubt. Like, hey, this guy will be the dude. I'm not sure that we have Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? So for me, I worry about destroying their confidence early on. Like if you said, if they're ready and they're way better than everybody, great. But I've seen the Browns as an organization throw rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks just to the wolves a million times over. And so if you can get away with rolling Flacco for however long you can until the wheels fall off.
Yeah, and I mean, not every rookie quarterback is Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud's rookie year, where pretty much every game they played was, yeah, this guy's the guy.
Right.
I think most, even like the first round quarterbacks have ups and downs throughout the season. So if you're only going to give Dillon and or Shedeur 4 or 5 games apiece, there's going to be a roller coaster ride probably for both of them, I'm assuming. So I just don't know how fair of an evaluation you're going to. It's so difficult to, because like Blake said, the veterans are going to want Joe. Yep. They're going to want opportunity to go out there and be competitive and win a ball game. And Joe Flacco gives you that best chance, at least right out the gate. I don't think anybody's going to push that.
No, I'm not.
Just his knowledge of NFL offenses, breaking the huddle, knowing where to be in the pocket, everything Joe Thomas talked about. Like nobody's going to be better than Flacco at those things week 1. But you still, it's tough because you got to evaluate at least one of these guys this year.
I have a couple things I don't want to forget. So the first thing I want to do is address a comment here. It says, best thing for the Browns and Sanders is to play Shedeur before the trade deadline and trade him so they can focus on Dillon. If they play him before the trade deadline and he plays well enough that other teams want to trade for him, why wouldn't we just keep him?
Agreed.
that makes less than 0% or 0 cents. Another thing I wanted to talk about, we expect the vets to want Joe to play, and I think we all think Joe will be the best person to start for the Browns. I literally just said it for myself, but I do think some people are too hyped for Joe Flacco in terms of, like, we put out Jerry Jeudy's over-under numbers. I think it was set by DraftKings, and it was, people were like, if Joe's playing, look what Joe did with Amari. He can build chemistry with anybody. Joe. Guys, pump the brakes on the Joe Flacco hype. Outside of a stretch of games for the Browns 2 years ago, in the last decade of his career, he's been a below-average quarterback. Okay? Like, we got to pump the – there is a reason – the Ravens moved off of him and went to Lamar. I don't think they planned on going to Lamar that early, but Joe and their offense was just so bad that they handed the keys to the rookie, and he was bad for the Jets. He was bad for the Colts.
Broncos.
Bad for the Broncos. The only time he was good was that mini stretch of games for the Browns, and even at that point, he threw for a lot of yards. But he also gave the ball away in a historic clip. If you would have extrapolated it for a 17-game regular season, it would have been like a 50-30 season. Something.
Did we forget the playoff game?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's just a lot of people who are just clinging to the magic of that run and making the playoffs with 5 different, and they just think Joe's just going to step in here and like be a Pro Bowler. And I just think you got to really temper your expectations for what you're going to get out of Joe Flacco this year.
Hasn't played a full season since 2017. It's not going to happen now at 40 years old.
I was going to say.
The older he gets, he doesn't get more likely to have a full season. It's not going to happen. I do think that if you start the season with him, there will be an organic transition from Joe to whoever you want to come in next. Now, that's the part that's the most interesting to me. Who do they want to come in next? Because they obviously had Dillon pegged as their dude. They used a 3rd-round pick on him. They were afraid somebody else was going to take him. And then Shedeur just happened to be there in the 5th round. They said, screw it, we'll trade up and take him. That was the approach.
I think they want to hand it to Dillon.
I think you're probably right.
I think Shedeur is going to force them
I hope.
To abandon that plan, at least by everything we're hearing and have seen out of camp and that kind of stuff, like the little bit of camp we've seen. I just think, and if they don't, I think that's going to be like, it'll be bad. There's going to be a lot of vitriol and negativity amongst the fan base especially if they hand it over to Dillon and he struggles.
Oh,
it'll be awful. It'll be bad. So it'll be very interesting. But we talked about this. They're going to give Dillon Gabriel is going to get every opportunity to be the guy. He's going to get more chances. He's going to have a longer leash. All that over Shedeur. Shedeur has to be nearly perfect to get the opportunity. I saw a comment in here. Somebody said he's being punished for speeding. I'm sure the Browns don't love that he was speeding, but I also think some people are the Browns have employed legit criminals. You know what I mean? So I don't think like it's obviously not a great look. You don't want your guy to be driving 100. I've also seen the takes like these guys are driving cars that you and I don't drive.
Yeah.
I've been going
That's
85.
What Greg Pruitt said.
Yeah, I've been going 85 in my 2017 Honda Pilot before and not realizing
God damn, bro.
It's not it's not unfathomable to think that a guy can be in a supercharged vehicle, $80,000 vehicle and going 100 and really kind of lose track of how fast he's going.
Well, when I've heard people say like sometimes you got to go 85 to keep up with traffic where he was getting pulled over. And I keep thinking, like, hey, if I'm going down the highway and I got to go 75 to keep up with traffic and I'm trying to get past somebody, I can hit 90 real quick, just trying to get ahead of a line of cars. That's not that far off from 100, So it's easy. It's very easy to happen.
And again, I'm not trying to like make excuses for driving 100. I'm just saying it's not that weird to be caught speeding. I've gotten speeding tickets for going 75 and a 55. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's 20 over.
Yes, everybody speeds. Like, it's not a great look. You don't want to do it, but it's also like it's the list of things that could make me question your character.
Right.
It's pretty far at the bottom of things that I really care about.
I said, it's like you said, it's not a good look. We talked about it on Saturday. I'm like, it's not a good look, but like at the end of the day, no real consequences came out of it. Like life-altering consequences. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nobody was hurt. There was no accident.
And obviously you don't want to do it because every time you go that fast, you increase the likelihood of something really bad happening. But he wasn't under the influence. I watched the tape of the interaction with the officer. He was respectful. Like, it was just we all get speeding tickets.
Use it as a lesson.
I think he's actually a really good dude.
Yeah.
Like, so far, everything he's done here has been very positive. And just to go back to that comment real quick, how can the Browns possibly be punishing him by making him the 4th-string quarterback at OTAs when he was speeding after OTAs?
Correct.
That makes no sense.
Yes.
So just chill out, guys.
Yes.
My other thing, though, real quick on this, if we go into training camp with all 4 of these quarterbacks, I think that decreases the likelihood of either of these rookies having a significant impact, at least the first half of the season, by a lot. I mean, because even if they don't go into the season with all 4 of those guys, they trade Joe or Kenny right before the season. You keep all 4 during training camp, neither of those rookies is going to be at the place you want them to be to start games right away.
Because of reps.
Because of reps. That's right.
I think a lot of what we do depends on the first month of the season. Are we 2-2? Are we 3-1? Or are we 0-4? You know what I mean? I think if you're 0-4, the timeline on when some people start playing gets sped up. If you're 2-2, okay, we're going to keep rolling with what we're doing. We just got to string a couple wins together, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because if they're 0-4, it's probably because Joe's throwing picks.
Or we can't stop anybody, or we can't run anybody, or we have, no wide receivers left because we only have one anyways.
This is true.
Keep it going.
So I don't think it'll all be on Joe.
No, I'm not saying all, but I do think I have higher optimism for our defense under Schwartz. I mean, they've been good ever since he's been here.
I just don't have any. I don't want to say any. I'm excited for the season. I have no optimism for the season.
You're about as down on this season as I've ever, since we've been doing this podcast, that you've ever been.
All I have to go on is what I watched us do last time. And I don't know if you guys watched that. I only watched about half.
Yeah, but
of
we
it.
went off of 2023 last year. Look where it got us. We were wrong.
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm wrong.
I hope I'm very wrong.
All right, so we got some more questions we want to get to, and obviously keep the chat going with some questions. But this comes from Barry DeHatchet. Nice. I thought it was like a French name at first, but it's just a pun. On YouTube, he's just said, "What about Keenan Allen?" Obviously referring to the Browns making a move for a wide receiver. I think we've talked about him quite a few times.
Yeah, I love Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
He's not coming to Cleveland.
Nope.
He's probably going to wait till there's an injury in camp on a big team. I would say like a Buffalo, a Kansas City, somebody with some championship aspirations.
Call me crazy. I'm kind of shocked like he's not going to go to Pittsburgh.
I was going to say the Ravens. I feel like they sign all the old guys.
Yeah, I just thought Pittsburgh because
so they don't need Keenan Allen.
He'd be a good compliment to DK, and he's like a precision route runner that kind of complements like what Aaron Rodgers does well.
He's a vet, so he would mesh with Rodgers.
Yeah,
sure.
so I'm honestly kind of surprised like you're not hearing that kind of tossed around as a possibility more in the Browns, just because like you guys said, we don't even know who our starting quarterback's going to be.
We can't even sell you on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Keenan, how you doing? We're really excited to bring you to town.
It's going to be one of these
excited.
four.
Yeah, one of these guys in this room right here.
I don't know which one, and it's going to change all season long.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So are you sure you don't want to come here in one of the last couple of years of your career, if not the last year? We can't sell you on a 3-14 season. Another one, Dave on Facebook. Do you gentlemen see Judkins as a 3-down back, or will he alternate series with Jerome Ford? I think Jerome Ford barely touches the field this year.
Correct.
Unless barring injury. I think Judkins is clearly a 3-down back, and I think Dylan Sampson is potentially a 3-down back.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot of how they handled Chubb, Kareem Hunt, where it's not necessarily Judkins comes in for first down, second down, Sampson's in on third. It's going to be, this is Judkins' series, this is Sampson's series. And Jerome Ford will be your 3rd down back to come in and spot these guys in passing situations and stuff like that. But I think Judkins and Sampson are both leaps and bounds better than Jerome Ford, even as receiving backs. Even though Quinshon Judkins didn't do it a ton at Ohio State, I still think because they had Travion Henderson, I would still say he's just an all-around better player and better athlete than Jerome Ford, and you're not going to take them off the field a lot to put Jerome Ford in. So Quinshon Judkins is a million times a 3rd down back because he was at Ole Miss. You know what I mean? He only became a guy who split carries and stuff like that when he went to Ohio State.
True.
So was Dylan Sampson at Tennessee. You know what I mean? He
was behind guys, and then he became a workhorse last year in his last season at Tennessee, and they handed him the ball way more than probably anybody expected them to, and he shouldered the load and delivered. So I think having those two in tandem is going to be very effective.
I agree.
And I do not think this has Jerome Ford should not be in this question. Like you said, passing down specialist. That's going to be it for Jerome Ford. I think, would he have 8 carries as a rookie? How many carries did Dearness Johnson get behind Hunt and Chubb?
Didn't he start that one Thursday night game?
Yes, I was there with John Nye and Katie.
That's right, yeah.
It's one of those things, too, where running back is the easiest position, I think, to transition to from college to NFL. The biggest hurdle running backs seem to have is in pass protection. So as long as both of these rookie running backs can nail down that, I think it's going to be them. Steady diet of both rookie running backs, and Jerome Ford will be there as a break glass in case needed kind of thing.
Yeah, the only reason we saw so much Jerome Ford the last 2 years because out of necessity. We had lack of options. We had nobody else. We didn't invest in the position whatsoever.
And I've been he's had some nice moments, but the inconsistency of Jerome Ford and just he gives you nothing extra. Yes, the offensive line has been not great the last 2 years. But this is the NFL. It's not going to be blocked up perfect like you drew it up in practice every time. At some point, you need your starting running back in the NFL. When it's blocked up for 1, he gets you 3. When it's blocked up for 3, he gets you 8. If it's blocked up for 8, it's a touchdown. You know what I mean? And Jerome Ford is basically, it's got to be blocked up for 8, and he'll get you in the 8. Or more. He'll bust it. But if it's blocked for 1, he's getting 1 or 0. If it's blocked for 3, he's getting 1. You know what I mean? Like he's not getting you anything extra. Has he ever broken a tackle?
So
sure, probably,
here's a lot of people, maybe somebody in the chat will say, but they'll point to last year and say he had 5 yards a carry. He averaged 5 yards a carry, guys. He was very efficient. He was very effective. So he had 565 total yards last year. I found this stat. 200 of those yards came on 4 runs. So that means outside of that, he had 100 carries for 366 yards. That's 3.6 yards a carry. Not good.
No, and some people are like, well, you can't take out his all of his good runs.
You can when they're 70 or 80 yards.
Well, and so take out his top 5, his best 5 runs, and take out his worst 5 runs and see what his average is.
You can't, because for that to even matter, he would have to have a negative 80-yard carry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because his longest
He would still average out. Take out his top 5 and then his worst 5. His top 5, his average would still plummet down into the 3s.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
But I'm just saying,
we're saying the same thing.
Yes, take out his best 5 runs. So if you don't want to say you can't take away his 80-yard runs because those are still runs. Yes, I get that. But if you want to get a more accurate picture of the kind of running back he is, take out his best 5 runs and his worst 5 runs and see what his average is. And that's going to be more of the kind of because we don't judge people at their best or their worst. You know, like what do you do consistently for me? And he's just not a starting every down NFL running back in my opinion.
No, he's not.
He's a nice change of pace, guys. You know, get him the ball 5 times. Let's see here. Stacy on the website, utilizing the website. Thank you, Stacy. Question for you guys. Answer for you. What happens if, and this is a big if, we start Joe Flacco and he lights it up, winning game after game, getting us into the playoffs? Where does this leave us for next year in the rookie QBs/QB situation? One, I don't think we got to worry about.
I feel like we kind of already hit a lot of this.
But it is kind of like, what if we win 11 games? I mean, what if we win 11 regular season games and we win a playoff game or 2 with Joe? Do you bring him back, or do you just say, okay, thank you, but we think one of the rookies is ready now?
You're like, aren't you sure this is the way you want to walk away from the game right here? You just want to just won a Super Bowl or won 11 games or whatever. Don't you just want to, why? I'm just saying, if we're talking about bringing Flacco back next year, something big happened. It wasn't like we were just like, we won 8 games. Let's bring the
it goes back to the
guy back.
The full season. It's not going to happen. Like it just.
I'd be very surprised. I'd be surprised if he got through half the season, and it's not a knock on him. We've already talked about it. He's 40s.
We already said what he did in 2023 during that stretch. We did an episode every week where we're like, this is awesome. It's not sustainable. Yeah. Like we were with you guys on the hype, but we were also trying to caution everybody, like, chill out a little. He can't do this over 17 games.
It would have been like the Jameis season, the season that everybody said Jameis is awful because he threw for like 5,000s and he went 30-30. Joe would have been like 5,000 yards, way more than 30 interceptions.
Yeah.
He was on pace for like almost 40 if he would have been over a 17-game regular season. Like 40 interceptions.
It's impressive.
Like I'm a guy where if like I think the year the Rams won the Super Bowl, Stafford led the league in picks, or at least was like close to the top. He had 20 or something like that. So he's averaging more, but he threw for a ton of yards and he was still like over a 2-to-1 interception ratio. Okay, that's fine. But you can't give the ball away 3 times a game.
No.
You know what I mean?
I'm told he throws a very catchable ball.
Yeah. So it's just
for both sides, for both defense and offense.
But just for the sake of Stacy's question, say he stays healthy and we win a bunch of games, what do you do next year? I feel like they would still end up rolling with a rookie, rolling with one of the rookies. You just saw the Vikings just won a ton of games with Sam Darnold, and they moved off of him to go to the rookie they just drafted. I would say basically for money reasons and the fact they took J.J. McCarthy to be the future. So it didn't matter what Sam Darnold did. They had enough faith in J.J. McCarthy to be that guy. They're going to roll with him. And Sam Darnold's way younger than Joe Flacco. So I would say even if Joe Flacco has a great year, this is more than likely his last year on the Browns.
But what would it do to the rookies right now, Dillon and Shedeur, if they don't get evaluated on the field? We have those 2 first-round picks. Like, I think that's where it would get hairy. Like, do they go in the first round and draft a guy?
If we win enough games that we're having this conversation, we're not going to take unless Jacksonville is a top 5 pick.
Yeah, you don't know.
You know what I mean? Because you're not going to get one of these guys if we win that many games, unless Jacksonville's awful and is a top 5, top 10 pick.
True.
But you'll have an entire offseason to evaluate them, an entire in-season of work to see their work ethic and all that kind of stuff. How much did the Vikings get to watch J.J. McCarthy? He was hurt.
Yeah, like
still
a couple series of
Sam Darnold
preseason game.
Yeah, so
I think it'd be a nice story, and that's kind of where it is.
It'll be another thing where old-timer Browns fans will be freaking out that we don't bring back Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
it'll be 5 years past that. Joe Flacco won't be able to walk. He'll be using a walker, and they'll be like, "Why aren't we signing Joe?"
Still looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, we're still looking for a quarterback, and Joe's just out there playing backgammon. Why aren't we signing Joe? So, but it'll be interesting to say the least. It'll be a good problem to have because that would mean we won way, way, way more games than I was expecting us to. Let's see. Notes from the Browns film breakdown.
This is just stuff, that I wrote down. That
you don't have to read that.
I'm like Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, you are.
It's okay. Honestly, you can read this word for word. It's fine because
just let him do
Go ahead. They're your notes. What else do we got to get into? Anything here?
those were all the questions for this week. I put these in here just in case we had more time, which we do. So that's cool. Browns film breakdown newsletter. They put in here, they've got some, I don't know where they're getting the information, connection sources within the organization a little bit. They said there's very little to report with confidence on the quarterbacks. Joe Flacco remains atop the depth chart, so there you go, as one would expect, but they will give Kenny Pickett a chance to show his worth early and often in training camp. That tells me they're planning to take all four guys in, which kind of pisses me off because it's not what I want, but who cares what I want?
Wait, say that again. What don't you want?
I don't want them to take all four of these guys in training camp.
Oh.
Yeah. Then the next note says there is a belief that Dillon Gabriel is ahead of Shedeur Sanders in the off-field aspects of the position right now. This is all very early, and the next month can help Sanders catch up, but Gabriel has an early mastery of the system. But it is worth noting how much of the group really believes in the physical performance from Shedeur Sanders in the summer. That is why a patience-based approach is in place with the fifth-round pick, because once it clicks, they feel like they might have something with Sanders.
So I'll say this. I think the Browns are definitely taking all four into camp. I'd be shocked if they don't, because they want to see who. I think it's between Joe and Kenny who's going to be the starter, and they're obviously going to keep both rookies. Maybe after maybe come cut downs, one of them will get cut, but I definitely think at the beginning of camp, all four quarterbacks are going to be on the roster.
Well, cut downs is right before the season, though, so that means that Shedeur and Dillon did not get a whole lot of – because training camp, you got to get whoever's going to be your starter.
I think we need to just sell the fact that they're going to get reps. That's not happening. That's not happening. They aren't trying to get Dillon Gabriel Shedeur ready to be the starter this year. They're trying to see if they have a starter in Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett.
I just don't. I guess Joe can start. I just don't see the point.
You gave up draft capital for Kenny.
You gave up draft capital for the rookies too.
Yeah, but you have them for 4 more years. You have Kenny Pickett. You have now.
I'm just saying, if you don't evaluate these guys and you pass on a quarterback in the first round next year, and they're not the guy,
yeah, but you're not gonna base
again.
Next year's first round draft pick on if they got training camp reps the year before. You have an entire football season.
I'm just saying they won't be as ready.
So
because they didn't get 2 weeks of training camp reps, no way. You're not going to base next year's decision on this year's training camp reps. 0%. 0%.
I'll say this too, as far as with Kenny and Joe. Let's say Kenny goes out and balls out. Let's say Wild World, he does the Sam Darnold thing, right? We can't pay him at the end of the year, bro. So I honestly, I think
he'd get a prove-it deal. He'd get a better, he's not going to, it won't be a vet minimum, but if he has a Sam Darnold type year.
He's going to get money.
He's
going to get paid probably.
He's not going to get, I don't think he'll get that much money.
Sam Darnold has got $40 million a year. But I mean, they did ball out. Did he get $4 million? He might not have got that high, but I mean, he got a lot of money. He's substantially improved.
And why can't we pay him?
Do we have money to pay him?
Again, they'll figure it out.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
If he's that good, they'll figure it out. They think he can be good, or they wouldn't have traded for him.
Yeah. They thought DTR was going to be good, maybe.
But that's a completely different conversation. I'm saying they're not worried about next year. So they're not saying we got to give Dillon and Shedeur training camp reps this year to find out if we need to take quarterbacks next year. They don't give two shits about next year. They're worried about this year. They're worried about winning games this year. So next year is not even on their radar. They're going to have 4 quarterbacks at the beginning of training camp, 100%, because the competition is between Joe and Kenny, and that's basically it. And then to see which one of these rookies can then be the 2 or the 3 probably.
Well, we definitely don't need to be talking about rookies starting the season. Or playing probably the first half.
I think there's almost 0 chance that's happening.
Because
almost 0% chance that's happening. Again, unless you just
holy
can't.
crap.
But it's by all accounts that's not going to happen. I don't understand how Dillon Gabriel can be more ahead on off-field seasons. He knows the offense better.
I read a little bit about this. They said that as far as like verbiage and lingo and stuff like that, Sanders is struggling, or at least he has to learn more of it. And they were basically saying like, Gabriel's like, yeah, this is just normal. He's already comfortable with the lingo and stuff like that. So they said he's just behind as far as going out, calling out the play, and in full.
Are we a little bit shocked about that, considering he had an NFL offensive coordinator his last year in college?
Pat Shurmur.
True.
I like to dish on Pat Shurmur, so I keep saying that he couldn't even get NFL players ready for the NFL, but
no, Pat Shurmur's one of the worst. If it wasn't Pat Shurmur gets up every day and thanks God that Freddie Kitchens exists.
Yeah.
Or else he'd be talked about as one of the worst.
That's why I'm honestly
not
Browns coach. I'm not really that surprised that Shedeur's a little behind on the NFL concepts. I think people are like, oh well, he ran a pro. It's not about that. It's like you said, it's verbiage. If Oregon was using a lot of similar concepts in the terminology, the play calls, things like that, then Dillon's coming in here going, well, I don't have to learn this new language. I've got this. Like, it's fine. Shedeur's like, I haven't seen this before.
I do like the fact though, like if he is struggling in terms of verbiage and that kind, and he still was that good in what we saw, like what happens when it
clicks? Well, like they said in the newsletter, they feel like when it clicks, they might have something. That's encouraging.
It's good to know that they're being patient too, and they're not just casting him off, being like, oh, he doesn't know Spider 2Y banana like the back of his hand. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Yep. Like it's good that they recognize that maybe like they just need to polish it up a little bit, but they could have a guy there. But it just kind of surprised me. Like, wait, this guy played for a dad who is a Hall of Famer in the NFL, a guy who was an offensive coordinator and head coach in the NFL. How's he behind in terms of NFL verbiage and playbook? That was surprising to me a little bit.
Sure.
The haters will say it's not true. It's just everybody conspiring.
It's clearly true because they had Shedeur working. But the thing is, like, and I keep telling people this, yes, he took reps on a separate field with the backups and stuff like during all OTAs and minicamp, but he got 100% of those reps for the most part.
Yes, that's important.
The other three guys are splitting, the pie on this field. Shedeur's getting every rep over here, and they're drilling it into him. So that's the way when he gets to training camp, he's hopefully up to speed and a little more level playing field.
If they didn't care, he'd just be sitting there watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't
not taking reps.
Yes, they wouldn't be putting him on another field, giving him a whole bunch of extra reps that other guys aren't getting if they didn't care.
They brought in a whole bunch of extra receivers and other position players just to make sure they had enough personnel to do this. Like they planned for this. So it's not all doom and gloom, I guess, in how OTAs and minicamp went.
No, I was going to say, it sounds encouraging.
Yeah.
The dude was balling out and was limited. It's going to be fine, hopefully.
I hope so.
Any other questions?
We need it.
Well, I don't think any will start because Brady Quinn was top 30 and he didn't even play his rookie year, but he sucked anyway. Well, I understand. Like, I agree that they're not going to start. I don't know what Brady Quinn not starting. That was like completely different regime and like 15 years ago.
And we've got a little bit of a track record of drafting guys in the first round that aren't exactly the best quarterbacks.
But we'll see.
Now, if you want a guy to get trapped under the American flag, damn it, we can find that quarterback.
Yeah. He was the best I ever seen.
At that game,
under
bro.
the American flag.
And I was at the game where they put the banner upside down, the one middle section
Me
upside
too.
down. So stupid. Dumb fan base. God damn it. Guys suck. Get better. We're mad at the Browns about how they're not doing their job. We can't even roll a banner out.
It's correctly. Like the most memeable thing I've ever seen in my life.
God, it's embarrassing.
Upside down.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was right behind me, wasn't it? Didn't it come down?
Yes, it came.
Because I was sitting front row in the dog pound, and you were like,
I was opposite side.
Yeah, you were like, you guys suck. You were so stupid. And I was like, bro, I didn't even get to touch the stupid thing. All right.
Well, anything else we need to get to? Did we cover everything?
I think we're probably pretty good.
All right. Chiefs sat Mahomes because the roster wasn't good. They added the pieces and let him loose. How'd that turn out?
Yeah, he was a first-round pick. It's different. Like they traded up to take him in the first round. Like there was obviously a plan there.
The quarterback situation for the Browns is just people are like, why are we only talking about? Well, it's because it's the biggest news. But I think it's huge news for us. But I do think like they have an idea of what they're doing in terms of, I really think it's going to be Joe or Kenny.
I sure hope so, bro. I sure hope.
And a big reason for that is a ton of people are reporting like that they're going to give Kenny's going to get, it's Joe, but Kenny's going to get every opportunity to take it from him.
Well, and Joe got the least amount of reps in OTAs and minicamp because I think they're like, yeah, okay, we've seen it. Like, we know what Joe can do. We need to evaluate these other guys.
They'll throw it to the other team better than anybody.
Yeah, like, we know what's going to happen.
Catchable ball.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It really, like, we're so close to the season, but, like, we're
freaking far away.
It's like the official... Like, this is the dead
period.
There's literally nothing now. But, right after the season, you got playoffs and the Super Bowl, and it's like a short ramp up into, free agency and that kind of thing. And then you got the draft and then rookie mini camps and mandatory camp. And now it's just nothing. We got baseball season for another 2 months. Yep. And 2 months doesn't seem like that much, but in football years.
Well, at least it's only 1 month until training camp starts. And then at least there's...
That's true. It's the end of June. Early August will be the Hall of Fame game, all that good stuff. So,
but that's why, like, during this 5-week period here, we're going to do these listener mailbag segments. So get your questions in. I mean, if you put a question on a social media post, we'll grab it, throw it in the show. Go to the website, thedawgspodcast.com, leave us a voicemail like Kenny does, or you can just send us a message like Stacy and I think Caston did earlier. We did a question with the Browns backers. So.
All right. Well, it's hot up here and I'm melting slowly.
It's very hot.
Let's get out of here. Stinking hot.
Donate to our air conditioning fund. No, I'm just playing. We have air conditioning. It's just hot up here still.
Well, donate to the fund, but do it through the dog pack at jointhedawgs.com so you can play fantasy football with us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You give us money for air conditioning, we'll potentially give you a T-shirt.
Championship shirt.
You got to beat us first. All right. We're just playing. Don't send us any money if you don't want to.
But you do got to pay if you want to play fantasy.
Yes. All right, we're completely off track here. We get to see who gets arrested every week. I don't know what that means. No, they did not. I don't know what that means. All right, we'll wrap it up because we're getting way off the rails.
The chat is off the rails.
All right, we appreciate you guys being here. Huge shout out to the Tuscarawas County Browns backers who were here before I jumped on. Thanks for coming in, talking about the event. Again, I was there at the beginning. I saw like a lot of the players coming in. I was like, wow, this is so cool.
Great.
I can't believe I got to go home right now. And then I went home, but I was watching on TV and I was like, this is just a really cool thing. And to say they're the third biggest in the state of Ohio is kind of crazy considering they meet at a bar in Dover. Which, if you guys are like, if you guys know Ohio at all, like it's not a big area. Tuscarawas County, the entire county probably has less people than Cleveland. Yep. So the fact that some of these, like we have cities like Cincinnati and Columbus and Cleveland and Toledo, in Tuscarawas County, Dover, Ohio is the third biggest Browns backer chapter in the state. That's pretty impressive, especially considering not that long ago, I didn't even know we had a chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like Rich and these guys are really turning it around. So if you're local and you haven't joined a chapter, the T County Browns backers are definitely the way to go. So those guys are awesome. But again, we appreciate them including us and all their stuff. We love promoting them. We appreciate them being on the show today. We appreciate all you guys giving us questions, giving us stuff to talk about in this downtime. And we'll see you guys sometime next week. Try to stay warm. I know it's try to stay warm.
It's brutal.